Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T or just plain old TT. Y'all see the thumbnail? Hey, I'm saying it. I'm calling it. And if I'm wrong, I don't have an ego. I could come back later and say, you know what, Miss T? Talking to myself. You were not right on that one. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to be wrong. And I'm going to break down with the facts why I think what I think. But y'all know the drill. First, let's turn to. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, like I said. You can refer to me as Miss T or just plain old TDT. Y'all see the thumbnail, but y'all know what I do at the top of my the importance of drinking water. The life sustainer. We need three things of life sustainers in every living thing. It's water, sunlight, and salt. But here in 2023 and beyond, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, should have a problem with dehydration. That should not even be a factor in anybody's life. So drink your water. We know that a lot of people are not big fans of water. They don't like to get their water on every day. But you must. You cannot negate that. If you're not a big water drinker, at least twice a day, you should drink water. And that's first thing in the morning. Before your toes even hit the ground. Before you get off into your morning routine. Brushing your teeth, washing your face, getting ready and everything. Using the restroom, of course. You should drink some water. It should be on your nightstand. Ready for when you open your eyes. 8 ounces. You know it only takes like 3 good gulps to down 8 ounces of water. Now I know some of you like your water cold. That's why here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate that you get you a little mini fridge to put in your room. It's not gonna hurt your pockets when it comes to your electric bill. You know I would be looking for shit like that. that is that I use to judge whether or not I'm gonna get something. I worries about my electric bill because they can get out of hand. But having a mini fridge in your room will not change it. I promise you. I wouldn't tell you to, or advocate for you to get it if that wasn't true. But what does the mini fridge help you do? It help you from taking that trek down to the kitchen. Because when you get to the kitchen just to get you some water, you know how it is. Man, you open that fridge, you see them leftovers, man, you're going to pull out and make you a plate. You might even put something together. Throw together a breakfast 3 o'clock or maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to start them habits. So it's best to just have the mini fridge in your room. Easy access. And for your family too. They'll love that idea too because my family loves it. They come right up in my room and I make that okay to my room and grab whatever refreshment they need to grab or put whatever they need to put in the fridge. They never really do that though. They never really be having nothing that they snacking on or whatever and then come in here and put it in the fridge. That's all me. But the water, they know I keep it stocked with water. And yes, I'm up to my normal 10 bottles of water. Your body, if you ever do have to go to the hospital or whatever, the first thing they're going to do is put you on an IV. Get that water up in your system. They might hesitate. They can tell when a person needs water. They just can tell. I've been there sometimes, even with my condition, and they don't even start an IV. Like a IV of water. They do the IV thing so they can, put the needle on my arm so they can administer the drugs, but they didn't start the saline water, and I'd be like, whew, thank God. All the water I drink, I'll be in and out the bathroom. I'll never be able to come out the bathroom. But that's the first time during the day that you should drink water. That's one of the 2 times. The second time is at night when you get out the shower or get out the tub and you making your way to the bedroom and you put your pajamas on. You know what you're going to do. You're going to look at a passage in a book. You're going to read a passage in a book. You're going to read maybe a newspaper article or look at 2 programs on TV, 30-minute programs before you just drift off to sleep. And I'm talking deep sleep. Well, that's when you should drink your water. And even the American Heart Association agrees that you should drink water every night before you go to bed. It's good for your heart. And it's a lot of work going on at night in the deep sleep. You got recharging, revamping, rebooting, recreating. That's a lot of work right there. Recreating all your cells, mainly your red blood cells. Thousands by the thousands. You're recreating. That takes a lot of work. And for that work, guess what else happens? The average person burns between 900 to 1,000 calories at night in a deep sleep. Not a cat nap, a deep sleep. So that's better than a workout, right? Because the average person, and I'm talking a good, decent workout, is burning about 150 calories. A balls to wall workout where you like, I did the damn thing today, about 300 calories. So 900 to 1,000 will be more, right? Like I said, 2023 and beyond, I really don't want to hear about people having dehydration problem. I know I'm not going to have that problem. But sometimes you can be thinking that you drank a lot of water and you still be dehydrated. It's all about absorption. Because sometimes you can have an absorption problem. I've had that happen to me before too. So you got to know these things. If you got an absorption problem, you can be drinking water all day long and it's almost like you ain't drinking none. So that's the only kind of acceptable excuse why a person could be dehydrated these days. Because we know better. When you know better, you do better. So water check, water check, water check. Drink your water. It don't matter if it's winter, summer, spring, or fall. Doesn't matter. Drink your water. Now that we got that out the way, let's get to some housekeeping. Look, in my James Brown voice, please, please, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, you ain't got to do it again. You already locked in. But lean on that leasing when you step into my heezy. In other words, hit the damn like button when you step into my square circle. And when you're watching me on replay, go ahead and leave a statement. Make sure it's logical and rational, because that's the only time my ears are open and receptive to what you got to say. If you come with idiocy, I can't do it. I told you, 2023, we're not doing chaos. We're not doing hypocritical shit. The lies are lies and the truths are truths. We're not playing these games going forward. It's a waste of time to do it the other way. So hit me with some rational, logical shit, and I got you. Or if you think you know what I'm going to say, because you look at me so much, and you know pretty much what Miss T gonna say, or you want to talk about something I said in the past, or what I may say today, hit me up. You got a statement or a question? Hit me up at boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. That's boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. That's my email. And then y'all see on the screen that lovely $ with the yellow Boxing Fans Talk TV. That's my cash app. Jump up and down on that mug. Embrace it. Give it a hug. Love it. Become one with it. That's my cash app. And I thank you all for using it. Past, present, and future. All proceeds go back into the channel. And I thank you guys. But don't be scared to use the cash app. And of note, I come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't give a care what the thumbnail say. But I see Mr. Golden is up in the building bright and early. What's poppin', King? He said, Lady T, hello, my beautiful queen. What's good? What's poppin'? You know, I thought about this topic that I'm going to broach today. And I was like, you know what? Let me sit and wait on it. I don't always be in a rush to just jump on whatever's out there. I don't have to be the first to report it. I care more about the accuracy of what I would say or what I would do. Our money is in the building. What's Papa King said? Miss T 100. So for me, I've thought about this. I want y'all to know that I didn't pull this out my ass. And I told y'all that I'm serious about the no chaos rule. We not gonna be chaotic up in here. People who like chaos, I have a special theory about that. I don't think they're very smart. I think people who like chaos like for you to dummy shit down to their level so that they can be on par with you. When otherwise they wouldn't even be on par with you. You know, so I'm not coming down to no chaotic level. A lie is a lie. A truth is a truth. And we not going to be hypocrites. Anybody can get called out for being hypocritical. Even me. But I know that I make a concerted effort not to be. So let's get into this subject that I've been thinking about for months and months. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence is turning out to be a lie, in my opinion. And I'm here to tell y'all, this fight ain't happening. And it's not happening for a variety of reasons. But I'm going to break down why I say it's not happening. And I'm woman enough to tell you guys, this is mostly speculation on my part, but I'm basing it on facts that's already out there. I'm also basing it on omissions that's out there. Knockdown 305 was popping, King. Said Miss T. And like I said, I'm basing it on what's already out there. First off, Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. We have already proved, me, other channels have already proved that Errol Spence is ducking and have been for 5 years. That Terrence Crawford fight. Now, I know that's the opinion of me. Again, I base it off of facts. I could go over this list over and over again, but if you're an Errol Spence fan, logic won't seep in your head and allow you to see what's in front of your face. We can show receipts all day long, but you're not going to accept it. So I refer you to E-Thriller, the Black Picasso's page, and go look at his 20-part series. And if you can watch that and come away from it thinking that Errol Spence hasn't been ducking in 5 years, then hey, you good. Because I don't know how you could. But here's what I see. I see that Errol is ducking Boots and Bud. And he's probably thinking, or he probably feels he knows, that Keith Thurman is an easier route. I'm going to call it. Like I said, this fight ain't happening. Since when do Keith Thurman be quiet leading up to a fight? I'm asking y'all. Since when does he do that? Since when has he ever done that? Keith Thurman got the gift of gab. He is not a quiet camper, especially leading up to a fight. You haven't heard shit from Keith Thurman in a while. It's been mum's the word. You don't wait till you're in your mid-30s, and Keith Thurman just turned 34 in November. November 23rd to be exact. Keith Thurman is not a quiet type dude, especially when it comes to his career or things he might want. He understands the blueprint of boxing, that you got to be vocal, you got to get out there and say your piece just to get some eyes on what you're doing. But he ain't been doing that. And I was like, you don't say. That's why I say I've been looking at this for months. I didn't arrive at this overnight. I've been looking at this since last year, formulating opinions, sitting back in the cut, saying, y'all. Dan Tan, what's popping? He said, salute, Missy. So look, Keith been quiet, something that he normally don't do. I really believe Keith is pissed and he ain't signed off on this bullshit. Since when do you know Keith to not want some hardware or fanfare? If you think about it, he vacated the WBC belt when nobody pressured him, nobody asked him, nobody ordered him. Remember, it came out of left field. He had a couple of belts, but he chose to get rid of the WBC. In return, Mauricio Suleiman gave him the Emeritus belt, which puts him back at the top of the list whenever he was ready. That's what Keith did. You don't think that Keith cared about his legacy? Tell me in the ass What video have you that explains to you that his legacy or about that hardware, i.e. those belts? Bring up the video. I promise you, that's a challenge you will never pass. That challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because Keith has always shown that he cares about history, that he's always cared winning those belts and becoming unified and undisputed and being the best in that he wants to fight outside of 147. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be the natural progression, but that man has never showed you that. Never have he hinted to it ever in his career. And now on the cusp of him possibly fighting Errol Spence, he don't want to be in 147. He got a hard time making weight when he has never told you that. He has never complained about that. This is all Errol Spence. It ain't got nothing to do with what Keith Thurman wanted or expected. If anybody was blindsided between two of these guys, it was Keith Thurman. So I'm telling you, I think he pissed about it. Come out and let the world know how he really feel. But Keith, however, has been in the gym. And saying that this fall, November 19th, without you, that requires you to be in the gym, you know, doing it up or something. But we thought Errol Spence overweight and happy. He won't in nobody gym. He had no intentions. But keep been working out and probably been dropping his weight responsibly and slowly but surely. You have seen a couple of videos of Keith working out here lately. That's why I told you it's not like Keith to be quiet, especially when he has a fight looming. The other thing that I want to point out is that y'all know that I've told y'all before that Errol Spence did not take VADA testing when he fought Ugas. He'd be skipping out on that shit. And according to the WBC Clean Boxing Program, him being a title holder, he of all people need to be taking that test. And he didn't for the Ugas fight. Now think about this when I go down these facts. And y'all tell me, am I off-centered? Or am I reaching when I tell you this fight ain't gonna happen? I don't think Keith signing off on that shit. I might even dare to say Errol might not even be signing off on it. I think it's what Mickey Bay said about PBC and Floyd Mayweather together. They good with the social media. They know how to preemptive stuff. Get out there, say what they gotta say, and make shit fall into fruition from what they say, even though it wasn't in lock, stock, and barrel when they said it. I know that sounds crazy. Said a mouthful. So in other words, if I say Mr. Golden gonna give me $2,000 and I just keep saying that. Now Mr. Golden ain't never said he was gonna give me $2,000, but I keep saying that. And then eventually, Mr. Golden, to save face, he's just gonna go ahead and give me the $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Mickey Bay kind of explained his dealings with Floyd and that whole regime, kind of like that. Like when it came to social media, how they could get you caught up in the mix and this, that, and the other. So I think that's what they're trying to do to Keith Thurman. So let's get into the facts, shall we? Let's get into the facts of it all. The WBC ordered the fight last year. And the original date was supposed to be December 17th. Do anybody disagree with that? If you do, speak now. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Because I want to make sure y'all walking with me on this one. The WBC ordered a fight. He ordered a mandatory fight with Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. That means, how does that normally go? Think about it. We've seen the WBC and other sanctioning bodies order a fight. We pretty much know how that process goes. What happens? The fight gets ordered. The promotional company that these guys are with tried to make the fight. They have a deadline to get done, or else it goes to a what? Purse bid. Think about this. If the original fight was supposed to be December 17th, did the PBC get that fight done? We know that they didn't get that done. How do we know? Because a couple of things. We know. We can look at what was said out of Errol Spence's mouth or through his tweets. The fight got moved and nobody was making hay about it. So there was no contracted fight in place, even though the fight original date was supposed to be December 17th. I guess Earl was like, fuck no. Because Errol Spence said he don't ever want to fight Keith Thurman. That's what the man said. He don't want it. You know, we can sit here and speculate all day why he don't want it and be like, oh, that's fucked up. But the man said he don't want it. But they ordered that fight. This is why I'm telling you, it's smoke and mirrors. When they ordered the fight with Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum and Al Heyman had a deadline to get it done. Really, it was on Bob's shoulders. Al Heyman wasn't willing to pay shit for that fight. So it all fell back on Bob. They had a deadline. If they didn't meet the deadline, that fight was going to a purse bid. So Bob was like, fuck it, man, I'll do it. Bob put up all that money. Al Heyman didn't do shit. That's how much Terrence Crawford discussed them for whatever reason. I don't know what the fuck Terrence Crawford ever did to them or what he said, but I don't think it was nothing. That just seemed to be the play. You know what I'm saying? Quentin Bradley is in the building. What's poppin', King? He said, good evening, Miss T. I'm listening. I'm breaking it down, Quentin. So y'all with me so far with the WBC ordered the fight. And we also had a date of December 17th. We had no proof that contract was signed, sealed, and delivered. But we had a date. And it never went to purse bid. But like I said, you know it wasn't signed, sealed, delivered. It was able to be moved just like that. Because all of a sudden, as we getting close to December, the WBA came out of nowhere and they chimed in. And they doubled down on what the WBC said. Are y'all with me so far? Any people who want to rebut that, let me know. Because you can't, but let me know. The WBA came, WBC, and doubled down. And then the WBA came up with a date of, February. And I think the WBA, this is just me speculating, and I'm going to say speculating. I think Errol Spence was like, I done told y'all what I said. I ain't fighting this nigga. And he wasn't cooperating or whatever. And the WBA did WBC a solid, tried to make it look more legit and official to buy time. This whole exercise has been buying time. That's all it's been. Let me buy time for this and let me buy time for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. Well, I get my next lie together or figure out how I'm gonna choke this chicken. So far I didn't get no rebuttals. So we clear with the WBC putting the order in. We clear that we can say there was no contract signed, sealed, delivered, because the original fight was supposed to be December 17th. We can be clear that the WBA chimed in and moved that fight to February. That's what they say. I can't remember if they had an actual date in February. I think they did, but I can't remember the date. If anybody can remember that exact date, please put it in the chat. Welcome to the building. What's poppin', Jamie? Thurman. It's a duck diversion away from Crawford. Yeah, Jamie, that's you read my mind, Jamie. So now we have February. No rebuttals. Okay? February in the new year. This would imply that contracts were signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm saying that again. The damn WBA chimed in. So you got the WBC and the WBA talking about, hey, you got to fight Thurman. Why did WBA care about Thurman when they got people lined up in their own little thing? Again, it's like Jamie said, it's smoke and mirrors. It's a diversion tactic to buy time, figure out how he gonna choke this chicken. He won't even fight his mandatory enemies. This is Rob is in the building with Poppy King. It's all smoke and mirrors, y'all. So now we up to no signed, sealed, delivered contract. And I said, if it was a signed, sealed, delivered contract, where the proof? Why they never showed proof? Ms. T, you reaching. Oh, am I? Let me show you somebody who felt the need to show proof. Y'all remember this picture? A highly concentrated, I meant controversial fight pending. Been brewing for months, years. You know how people feel about Ryan. Ryan is notorious for bragging about having to fight and then don't fight. Y'all know the shit I've said about Ryan. Look what Oxley did. He pulled their whole card, called them out. They sent over the contract. We know the contract is done. Oscar standing there in the picture with Ryan, both of them pointing to the contract. Inquiring minds wanted to know. And Oscar knew that. Oscar know that inquiring minds want to know. So where's PBC on this thing? We just got to take their word for it, I see. So December 17th, now February 23rd, now we supposed to believe that there's a contract signed, sealed, and delivered, that it's a real thing. Then, of course, Errol Spence has an accident. Now, some people say, oh, he's just unlucky. Even he said it himself. Some people may say, nah, he did that shit on purpose. Some people may say, nah, he didn't. But I will tell you this, it's convenient for him. But before we go further than February, may I direct your eyes to this. Y'all see it. I want y'all to go read that. This is why I say he brings this shit on himself. Andrew Charles, I see you in the building with Poppy King. He says, I'm on a plane, bored, just talking. I don't know when I'm fighting for real. I want y'all to harp on that part. I don't know when I'm fighting for real. Then he says, I was blindsided weeks ago. I'm still trying to figure things out. Laughing emoji with the tears coming out. If Errol Spence want to say he was blindsided, there's no rebuttal for me. I mean, if that's how the man felt, that's how the man felt. I'm more concentrated on, I don't know when I'm fighting for real. If you mosey your eyes down to the bottom of the page and you see a time of 11:09 p.m. on November 21st, 2022. That date and time matters because November 14th, Spence and his team requested from the WBC that him and Keith Thurman fight at 154. So how then you turn around and how many days later is that? 7? A week later, you say, I don't know when I'm fighting for real. How don't you know this? At that time, there was a date given to you. Now, I'm sure the Spence fans can come up with all kinds of reasons as to why this is the case. Maybe he was waiting on the word from WBC and they ain't give him no word. Maybe that was him putting his 10 toes down. Like, the only way that this fight is going to happen is if we fight at 154 and Keith Thurman can't earn shit even though he wins. Maybe that's the answer he was waiting on. And until I get that answer, ain't no fight. We don't know what could be going on behind closed doors, but I'm sure that's what the Spence fans will probably lean towards. This is Rob said, the biggest mouth at 147, haven't said a word. Yeah. Salute, Miss T. JH is in the building. Was probably said smoke and mirrors. Indeed, James said boxing has turned into WWE theater with these toxic divas. Yeah, I thought women were emotional. Ain't that what y'all say? Spin the block, my guy. And Jamie said Errol Snake Spence knows how to work his lies and manipulation, but doesn't work on everyone. It don't. And I'm sorry, Q. Or General Big Fish, if you listening. I gotta call your boy out. This is relevant information. I don't know when I'm fighting for real. You do know. You had a date of December 17th. And the only thing that made that date differently is February. So you did know that when you was fighting. I can't say for sure that by November 21st, 2022, was that date moved to February by that time or not? But what I can say, there was a date. So you did know who you was fighting for real. And you know the proof that makes me know you knew who you was fighting for real is you begging and asking, can you fight this guy at 154? And for the conditions that y'all have orchestrated thus far, from what Mauricio Suleiman said. Now, I can't say all the way that 154 fight or whatever is supposed to be coming down the pike, that is not true, because we hear Mauricio Suleiman speak on it. But we don't hear Keith Thurman saying shit. And we don't hear Errol Spence saying shit. And if Keith Thurman come out with a video or an interview right after this, I'm going to be tripping my ass off. Because I specifically waited to see. Another thing that gives me pause is that just because you have an accident doesn't give you carte blanche to move dates or change dates. And that's exactly what Errol Spence did, with no rebuttal from the powers that be or the sanctioning bodies. Look what they just did to Charlo. Charlo couldn't just say, yeah, I broke my hand. And he showed us a picture of the cast. He couldn't just say that. They was like, nigga, run me the details and who your doctor is. We want an in-depth analysis of what all took place and what's good. Because you ain't gonna just tell us it's raining and we don't look outside to see if it's true. You know. But they don't do that to Errol Spence. Y'all know I've been watching and researching and trying to find evidence that Errol Spence has taken a VADA test. He didn't take one last year. Don't you think that pending the fight December 17th, he would have got with VADA? Because that's a date. But even when they moved it to February, still, sometime between whenever they moved it until February, don't you think he would have got with VADA? I mean, him of all WBC people, got to have a VADA testing. He's a part of that clean boxing program. Remember the rules on that. The top ranked 15 people have to be compliant with the clean boxing program, or get knocked out the rankings, or get stripped from your titles. That's their rules. That's not Miss T rules. That's their rules. But yet again, we're going into another year where your guy, Errol Spence, has dates to be fighting, but he doesn't have to follow the rules like everybody else. And another reason which makes me think this smoke and mirrors. What did Errol Spence say? I'm coming back April, May, or June. Which one is it, nigga? Which one is it? April, May, or June? That's vague as a motherfucker. You just throwing something out there. You have no intentions of fighting. You and Fat Man Bliss. That's where you at. You loving this time off. I don't blame you. I mean, shit. All of y'all fighters probably need much deserved breaks and shit. But you lying to the fans and you misleading the public. You are what you said you hated. The whole reason we got this Keith Thurman debacle is because of what he did to you. Your boss, Al Heyman, wants this fight. But you tired of Keith because Keith stiff-armed you all those years. And then you take that shit and you turn around and become Keith Thurman 2.5. Don't ever forget this tweet that shows you how much he was lying, y'all. James said Errol Snake Spence knows how to work and lies. Oh, God. I think I read that one. He said the problem with lying is that the lie cannot live for long, and Spence has lies all over the place. Yeah, he always, and I be saying that, he always put his foot in his mouth. Like I said, we have no proof of no contracts. We can't get a lockdown date, but yet there's no purse bid. When do they do that? Somebody in the chat let me know that. When do a fight get ordered? because you're the mandatory and no dates come out of that. You got to secure a date. You got to sign, seal, deliver that. And it's a deadline. If you don't, it goes to purse bid. Right now, there's no contract, no sign, seal, deliver date. And watch for the tricky words of postponement. I said this about the Jermell Charlo and Tszyu fight. That fight wasn't postponed. It was canceled. There is a difference in those two words. When you postpone a fight or you postpone something, you normally come up with another date. Even if you don't come up with a date that day when you postpone it, it don't take you weeks to come up with a date. You will come up with a date. Otherwise, it's a cancellation. Errol Spence, knowing that he had the car accident, knowing that he catches favor, unlike other fighters do, he can circumvent or bend the rules a little bit to his favor. He moved the date. That was his way of getting out the Keith Thurman fight, because like I said, he don't want to do it. And I'm almost positive, I'm 98.99% sure that Keith Thurman didn't sign off on this shit. And then Keith Thurman, if you listening, I'm speaking for you, brother. Now, if it turns out that I'm wrong, I'll gladly say I'm wrong. I have no ego. But I don't think I'm wrong. If Keith Thurman wanted this shit, trust me, Keith Thurman you'd have heard from Keith Thurman by now. Mum's the word. He ain't saying shit. But I seen some of his workouts. That motherfucker got power, I ain't gonna lie. Jamie said, I follow Crawford. He's a straight cat, and it's not about that toxic lying. General Big Fish is in the building with Papa King. He said a big fish gets to do whatever he wants. If you don't like it, learn to love it. Laugh out loud. What up, T? What up, Big Fish? I'm going to find that task a little bit hard, Big Fish. Your boy is a liar. He has lied and manipulated the public. And it's time to hold him accountable. Like I said, there's no proof of contracts. There's no deadline to getting the fight done. There's no purse bid. That's how you know ain't shit happening. There's also no VADA testing. Not for Keith and not for Earl. We know Earl gonna skip out on the VADA testing. But Keith don't normally do that. And you don't do the VADA testing until it's concrete, seal, and delivered. That's when the VADA testing starts. That's how I know this ain't gonna be no fucking fight. This was a diversion tactic to buy Keith Thurman fat ass, not Keith, but Errol Spence fat ass some time. And he's ducking. He is the true duck. He wrote this statement. I mean, this is the lies of him. I'm putting it right in front of y'all face. He wrote this statement on November 21st. In the statement, I don't know when I'm fighting for real. But you did on this date. The date was December 17th. You did know who you was fighting because you asked the WBC to change the rules for you. And you were specific as to who your opponent was going to be. Hey, Mauricio, when I fight Keith Thurman, I want to fight at 154. That's what you did a whole week before you wrote this statement. Nobody asked you to write this statement, Errol Spence, but you did. And in it, you lied. Big Fish, your big smoke fish, went down to the bottom in the pond for pound ranking. Reginald Peters. What's up, Reginald? Like I said, where the proof? We know that Keith Thurman does not skip out on VADA. Never has he ever. Never has he ever. But your boy Errol Spence do. And Keith Thurman has not been obligated or told to do a VADA test. In fact, if you don't do a VADA test and you're up for VADA, like I said, don't go down until the contracts are signed, sealed, delivered. But if you up for VADA testing, as Keith Thurman and Errol Spence would be, and you don't take it, you get pulled off the ranking. That's what they do. That's what their rules say. Remember last year, Keith Thurman did his VADA, and Mario Barrios, I think, failed his VADA. What wound up happening to them? The fight went on, trying to save PBC, because PBC was in trouble then. But what wound up happening? Mario Barrios got knocked out the rankings for whatever his non-compliance or whatever with VADA. Y'all got to try to make it make sense. No Errol Spence fans can make it make sense. These points that I just pointed out, you can't make it make sense. You will only bring your feelings into it, and you can bring your opinions. I told you facts. I told you, one, the fight was ordered last year by the WBC. Miss T didn't do that. Mauricio Suleiman and them did that. And they ordered Earl to fight Keith Thurman. And they actually had a date, December 17th. But what do we know from the end part of last year? Neither Earl or Keith Thurman took a VADA test. So I know, so I can feel like, you know, and this is me saying feeling, I can perceive, I'm going to say perceive, that they didn't have a fight because neither one of them took a VADA test. And that's one of the things they were supposed to do before their fight. And they didn't, neither one of them got in trouble. Like they wasn't thrown from the list or anything like that. So that tells me that was smoke and mirrors. It was coming down the pipe. But that tells me that a logical explanation could be that Errol Spence was sticking by his guns. That he was saying, I done told y'all, monkey ass, I ain't fighting Keith Thurman. And he was sticking by his guns, and they couldn't make him change his mind. So in an effort of not looking stupid, since they put out a date already, they got the president Mendoza and them to double down on the mandatory for Keith Thurman. Now, Keith Thurman was never in the top 3. I don't even think he was in the top 5 of the WBA. So why would the WBA chime in and make it a mandatory for Errol Spence and Keith Thurman? You have to ask yourself that question. Because I don't remember at the time Keith Thurman being in the top 5, not alone top 3. So I was like, why they got something to say? They should be worried about Stanionis and whoever else Stanionis was fighting to come at Earl for that. I mean, but Stanionis had, I think, was setting up that fight with whoever he was supposed to set the fight up with. So what the fuck was the WBA talking about? But they made that whole ordering of the Keith Thurman fight more legitimate. But what it really did was help them, without any fanfare, move the date to February. Because I think at that time, I really believe Errol Spence wasn't jiving. He wasn't bullshitting. He was like, man, I done told y'all. I'm not gonna do this. And if you think about that leaked conversation just a couple of months before that from Errol Spence, where he said Terrence and him could fight in 2023, he also talked about, I'm not fighting Keith Thurman. So all the WBA did was gave Suleiman and PBC and Al and them more time to persuade Errol Spence to take the Keith Thurman fight. Meanwhile, the whole time, Keith Thurman is quiet. Nigga, we know that Earl probably knew that it's coming down the pike. And they said Earl and team. Or was it Al? Do Al have power of attorney to go in there and speak for, Errol Spence? What's his name? Had a very, very interesting interview with Rachel Donnell, and she kind of explained how sometimes these contracts can be written in such a way, and she said something about if you kind of have a manager, the way they can write these contracts where they made themselves power of attorney and even made themselves have the power to cash your checks. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that they could do shit like that. But they could have gone and petitioned the WBC on behalf of Earl without him even signing off on that shit. Remember when Crawford tried to send somebody to ask, can he be made mandatory? And what did Mauricio feedback? What would he say? He said, you have to have a promoter here to speak for you. I didn't see that shit in the rule books, but that's what he told the man who was speaking for Crawford, asking the WBC board and president, can he become the mandatory for Spence? And they basically was like, nah, you have to have a promoter. I mean, it's a slap in the face, because nothing in boxing says you have to have a promoter. Nothing in boxing says you have to have. You don't even have to have a manager. You have a lot of upcoming boxers that don't have either, because nobody has taken them on. So you telling me Mauricio can use that as a fucked up excuse? That dude can't fly straight either. But all this stuff could have been going on around Spence. But Spence, you don't come out, put your foot down, and say what shit really is. All this happened last year, y'all. You got people ordering fights. You telling the fans that, hey, the fight is this day or this time frame. But you're not locking in. The only date that I remember for sure that was locked in was December 17th. And if you remember, Spence's dude fought on that date, Frank Martin. Spence was supposed to be the main event. But I think Spence held his ground. It was like, fuck no. So, like I said, the WBA allowed the WBC and Al Hammond not to look like silly fucks that they are by extending the date. And that bought them some time to get Spence on board. But neither Spence nor Keith Thurman have done no VADA testing. I've been looking. I've been searching. Nothing. And y'all know I be looking for that. Then the fight gets postponed. This is the word they want to use. Postponed to what? You can't say April, May, or June. Which one? April, May, or June? Be more specific. More like the fight's been canceled. Because when you postpone something, you come up with another date. Like I said, even if you don't have a date right then and there, it ain't gonna take you weeks to get no date. By now, there should be a date, not April, May, or June. Sound more like cancellation. You know, the Charlos, whether it's Charlo or Al Heyman, because, you know, they work for this PBC guy. But Charlo, under his circumstance, they try to say that too, that the fight was postponed. His fight is canceled. Learn the difference between the word postponement and cancel. Rather than say you wrong again, Fury versus Usyk Davis versus Garcia, Wilder and Ruiz, Keith versus Earl isn't made yet. It all then right. And then look, you got an Errol Spence fan saying that the fight ain't made yet. Where's the deadline? It was ordered. Where's the purse bid? See, these are questions that no Spence fan can answer. All they gonna come in is with their feelings. They won't be able to answer why there's no purse bid. They won't be able to answer why there's no deadline to get the fight signed, sealed, delivered. That's the beautiful thing about getting a fight ordered. At least you know it'll get signed, sealed, and delivered. If you waiting on them to put a fight together, we could be waiting for years. Hood Champion Boxing and Sports, welcome to the building. He said Earl doesn't make any decisions. Well, that's his problem. You have a seat at the table when it comes to your career, at least. Jamie said Errol Spence is using Crawford clout, attention, knowing he's not going to fight him. He never intended to fight him. I'm not even pressed no more. Like, as far as I want Crawford to fight him, and when he fight him, to beat him the fuck down. But because he took him through all this shit. But, you know, the fight never happened. I'm not going to bust a blood vessel or get my blood pressure up, as you say, Big Fish, over the fact that they not fighting. Spence, he's a scaredy cat. Let me tell him to his face. Because I know y'all be like, Miss T, I bet you won't say that to his face. Look. You I ain't going to say kinda, I'm going to be direct. You're a scaredy cat. You're scared of Crawford. You're coming up with these elaborate schemes to include accidents, putting yourself on injured list, ain't showing no proof of no real fucking injury. Has any of y'all seen the paperwork? I haven't seen it. Why they don't ask for his paperwork? They have stripped people for less. You are holding up the welterweight division. You got young people behind you trying to get a shot. You don't know what you want to do. You go up to 154, you ain't coming back. Everybody know that. You've been out of shape the whole fall, and you still out of shape. You ain't in nobody camp. The only release of press that we see between the both of y'all, Keith and you, is Keith is out there working out. And shout out to Keith, he's getting time to do it slowly and methodically. I seen Keith hitting that heavy bag. Good God Almighty. Ooh, he ain't lost his touch. Like I'ma keep saying, since when do a fight get ordered without a deadline and then you don't hear nothing about a purse bid? Since when do like themselves keep as a app? That motherfucker ain't said shit. Not on his shitty or nothing. All you see is him in the gym working. And there's an actual date. for the spring/summer for Thurman and Errol Spence. Errol would make statements like May or June. He would be specified. I showed y'all the tweet that he put out 1 week after he supposedly have asked the WBC, can they fight at 154? There's attorney over Keith that they went and asked on Keith's behalf without him knowing, or didn't go over it with him, or didn't say about it. There's a small piece of me that believed that happened as well, but I don't know. Jamie said, Spence is a crackpot, smoke illusion. Senator Pictures is in the building was pop. The whole thing speaks for itself. Yeah. Where's the VADA compliance? That's how you know WBC fighters is on the hook for fighting. Because they got to do VADA. It's in their rules. They going to change the rules for just Spence and Keith. I can see Spence because you know they like to kiss ass. But and motherfucking Keith. Come on, y'all. VADA ain't nowhere to be found or mentioned. Dr. Yogi is in the building with Poppy Queen. She said, "I'm just stopping by the show to show some love." Thank you. So I'm asking you, Keith Thurman gonna wake up at 34 and just decide to be a quiet person when he been a mouthy person all these years? Errol Spence, I got his picture up here, but he ain't said shit about nothing. I can find him. He keeping himself to himself because he know if he get on the camera, first thing we gonna be looking at is how fat he is. He know that that's what people gonna do. And again, I'm shit. Not a personal expense, because he's a nice looking man, you know, with his shape and all, you know, and everything. But he the one who chose boxing, and he was supposed to be a certain size, and he not. He overweight like a motherfucker. I had seen a picture with a plate in his hand. I was like, this nigga got some titties? Some little itty bitty ones. Joseph Bailey says, salute everybody. Welcome to the building, Joseph. It's popping. Most of all, where's the proof of injury? Do y'all think that the Spence fans or PBC fans would allow Crawford to say, hey, my leg hurt, and that's that? Your boy Chardo, who is undisputed, got more credentials in a sense than his best friend Spence, was not allowed to just say, hey, yeah, I broke my hand. But that was, who was it? The WBO on his ass on that one. The other sanctioning bodies didn't mind. But I'm just saying, you guys see how the rule being bent for your boy Spence, and you don't care. But I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to let you come in. Y'all say what you want. I think I proved my case. This fight was smoke and mirrors. It's never going to happen. Spence stood 10 toes down on his shit when he said he not fighting Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is awfully quiet. Really don't want to jinx it because it ain't a done deal. And how do you order a fight and you don't have a come behind it? Because you didn't have, how you order a fight with no deadline and no, and why, if we talking WBC sanction, where VADA at? It's so many reasons why you can point to that, you know, this fight ain't happening. And when he put out that tweet on November 21st, a week after him and his team requested to fight Keith Thurman at 154. Not only was he specific to his opponent, but he wanted to change the rules for himself. So all I can say makes sense. And I'm waiting for somebody to come through and make it make sense. And they ain't gonna be able to. I guarantee you they ain't gonna be able to. Especially Reginald. I don't mean to pick on you, Reginald. Reginald would come in here with a bunch of feelings. Any Spence fan coming here, that's all they can do is come in with a bunch of feelings and talk about shit that ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Refute what I said. Refute what I said about there's an order with no deadline and no purse bid, that this is a WBC sanctioned body fight, and there's no VADA testing from either one of them, and there's no specific date. Even in the spring is April, May, or June. So that's not postponement, that's cancellation. Because postponement means you come up with a later date. Cancellation means it's just canceled. So somebody come in here and refute any of that. Refute why he sent a tweet out that said he don't know who he fighting for real on November 21st, but yet November 14th, he was begging for special provisions from the WBC to fight Keith Thurman at 154. Or you gonna tell me that was Al doing that shit behind his back? That would mean Al have to have a power of attorney. It could make sense because when Crawford sent somebody to the WBC to ask can he be the mandatory, what's the excuse why they couldn't do it? You have to have a promoter to ask for that. So, is it possible that they bribing or trying to blackmail or push Errol in the corner to fight Keith? That's possible. I ain't gonna say that ain't possible. The man said he ain't want to fight him. But Keith Thurman is quiet, and he is never quiet. And Errol Spence purposely mislead these fans. And y'all see it. I just showed you proof that not only he misleads, he lies. But like I said, his fans will find a reason to justify all that. But if anybody can rebut anything I said, you're welcome to do it. In other news, Tszyu says he kind of ready for this Tony Harris fight. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting fight. It's going down March 12th, I believe. In the States, I think. Tszyu feel that Tony Harrison is going to be in for a shock of his life because he feel like most fighters underestimate him. And it's more so about his range and distance. Like Tszyu apparently has the uncanny ability to appear closer than he really is. And that's a tactic. That's a boxing tactic. And it's only a few that can pull that shit off. That's Floyd. Floyd comes to mind when I think of that. If you slow down the fight scenes with Floyd and you see they barely miss his face or his nose, but Floyd timed it like that. And that's Floyd walking to you. I seen one where it was probably easy to do with Conor McGregor. Conor was throwing the punch and Floyd was walking to him and stopped. I mean, I don't even know if it was an inch short of the punch. Floyd didn't blink or nothing. When I tell you that is some talent right there, be able to do that. Now they claiming that Tszyu got that talent. And he's used to being underestimated. He's planning on taking Harrison into deeper and drowning him. To thread till they get in the later rounds and just drown them. The fighter is when you throwing punches, you connect and trying to get in there and you miscalculate. That's what's frustrating and will tire you out. Tszyu is positive. So I what y'all think. But Tszyu is also a pressure fighter. He's also a pressure fighter. And he's good at that too. I've seen him in action. But whomever is the winner between Tszyu and Tony Harris, they will be fighting Charlo for the undisputed. And Tony want that get back so bad. I don't blame him. But my question is, they had a fight for the 28th set. Everything probably was paid for. Why they just didn't move Tony in? When they first started talking about his hand was in December, and I believe Tony was like, shit, I'll take that fight. Tony would have been ready then. Now they said as of right now, Tony like 10 pounds off the weight that he needs to be to fight the fight. But shit, Tony could have been ready January 28th. But PBC pulled the card. PBC said, I'll postpone it. But they didn't postpone it. They canceled the shit. And I know some people gonna say, Miss T, Tszyu is fighting in March. No, the card is Tszyu and Charlo. So that's what I'm speaking on when I say is postponed or is it canceled. It's more like it's canceled. Because we don't know how long the recovery time is. That's why the WBO was real particular about finding out the particulars about his hand injury and when the recovery time is and when to expect him back. But Charlo is expected to return sometime in April. But like I said, why you just didn't slide Tony Harris in the 28th? That got a lot to do with Showtime and PBC and their lack of money. Because you can't say that Tony Harris and Tszyu is a pay-per-view fight. You can't really say that. But being that Jermell Charlo is undisputed, you can say that about him. And PBC need all their fighters to do pay-per-view, even if it don't make sense, because they don't have no money. The business is failing. Now, I know some pundits have said that based on Tony Harris' last performances, he don't look like he got it, what it takes to beat Tszyu, as if fighting Charlo took everything out of him. Like Tony is not the same. And we don't know. I don't know if Tony the same. We know that Tony wants to get back. Now I'm gonna tell you, it was gonna be hard pressed for me to miss that fight. Tony Harris and Jermell Charlo. The arguing of it all right there, man, can sell that fight beyond belief. But Tszyu is in the States fighting and sparring American fighters, and he definitely pointed out that there's a difference in Aussies and Americans and how they fight. And he's fighting some brothers, you know what I mean? And he's definitely a fan of the style fighter. And he's gonna routine, but you know when it turned it on, it went on. Because he's a fighter. But dude, Tony Harris is a complete boxer. I don't know what Tszyu think he gonna get into. And that's his feet moving. And when he's standing in front of him, sit down on fucking hard. Because I really would love to see a Tony Harris and Charlo Part 3. I don't know about So we got that possibly set. It's the bantamweight champ. He hold the WBC and the WBO, and that fight gonna be in Japan. So I'm gonna look forward to that fight too. You know. Anyway, it's the newest member of the crew, the 4-belt crew. He is the newest member to be awarded with 4 belts as undisputed in the 4-belt era. I think Bernard Hopkins was the first. I can't remember everybody, but we know Terrence is one. We know that Canelo is one. We know that Jermell Charlo is one. And now Inoue is one. So those will be in depth for sure. Future Hall of Famers or whatever. All of them who I just mentioned. And they got a small little crew that some people are itching to get a part of. Now, when I was talking about the Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, when I keep telling y'all that dude is in a predicament, he's backed himself into a corner. He's in a pickle. I keep saying that to y'all. A lot of y'all don't want to believe it, but he is. He really, really, really is. It's like he damn if he do and he damn if he don't. Talking about Errol Spence. Well, he should have just took the fight with Bud Crawford and stopped playing around. I understand that he's scared, but he should have took the fight and got it over with. And stop letting PBC do things that hurt your career. Because I don't think that this fight with Keith Thurman is going down. I can't see Keith Thurman signing off on this shit. And his silence tells everything. You know, so I dropped the link. I ain't see nobody come through and rebut me. So I'm of belief that you can't rebut me. It's a damn shame that and let it get to this point. You know. But I don't know. Right? I mean, it's possible. But I don't think Keith gonna sign off on this thing, y'all. And if it turns out that Keith did, then I stand corrected. Again, I don't have no ego. So I don't mind saying I'm wrong. That is what I speculate based on a lot of facts that I laid out to you guys that are unrebuttable, unrefuted. There's an order for a fight, no deadline, and no purse bid. That never happens like that. They both fighting for WBC sanctioning body, but yet neither one of them has complied with VADA, took a VADA test. You got to do that. You got to do that with WBC. And it starts when the contracts are signed. Not the day before, but when they're signed. I showed you guys the rules. So that's what tells me ain't no contract signed either. For the spring, when Earl said he may be back, in the key fight, he said April, May, or June. He didn't specify. That tells me there ain't no contracts there neither. And ain't no contracts there. Where's the motherfucking proof of that? Like that there's a contract signed, or where's the VADA testing for this so-called spring fight? Why is it, and meanwhile, you guys standing on this biting his nails like, yo, dude, we signed a contract. And you got Booth saying, yo, nigga, me and you supposed to get it in. And Terrence is like, I thought I was next. You gonna come take my shit. Ain't that what you said, April 16, 2022? And, then he put out, I don't know who I'm fighting for real. You always knew who you was fighting. You probably knew in April you was fighting Keith first. Keith thought he knew, and Keith said as much before that. And then your team goes and beg for special privileges. So yet again, they took us for a ride and lied to us. But that's how they do. That's all I got. No, I waited patiently. And I just couldn't wait no more. So please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Please hit that like button and do share if you want. You can hit me up at boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. Also, if you're in here, I always throw this up here. Please copy down this link. These links. It will take you straight to Amazon. And Amazon can take it from there. Please don't hesitate. Get you these items right here. It's a game changer in your house. It's going to help you with ailments and illnesses. Even if you're the picture perfect health, kids may have skin disorders, asthma, rashes. You probably have male pattern baldness way before your time. Two little contraptions. Believe it or not, it's going to help you get that shit. And to think, it only costs about the same amount of money it would cost you to take your family to the movies. And like I say, even if you ain't did shit with the family, we'll mess over money a week, like $20-$30. This shower head cost me $21, and this filter right here cost me so $50. I can up that up in a week and won't even have nothing to show for it. So listen, don't fuck around. Go and copy that. Other than that, XO Factory, I did shout you out. I see you in the building. One love, Queen T. Other than that, I'm out. In my Pamela James voice, unless y'all got something to say. If not, in my Pamela James voice, peace.